Happy Wednesday. Merry Christmas late.
How you guys doing?
Welcome to Relationship Talk with Beth Lee and
Dan IT Guy.
Dan IT Guy. And we hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas. We had a good Christmas.
It was really good.
Pretty good. We didn't get snow. So I was a little sad about that.
Yeah.
But the forecast is 1 to 3 inches tomorrow of snow. So we'll see. I always take that with a grain of salt. It'll probably be 1 to 3 flakes, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. So, yes, we welcome everybody here. We're so excited that you come in and watch the show, and hello, Destroyer. So whenever you pop in and say hello to us, we're always happy to have you here and do the thing. And yes,
That thing,
yes. And you can always email us too. So if you have questions or comments that you'd like to email to us, you're welcome to email us. And we have our email address somewhere. Maybe we don't.
Hang on. Here we go.
There we go. There it is. So there's our email, author.bethlee@gmail.com. And you can email us anytime. It's been a few months, but we're still,
We're
tripping over our shoes a few times here and there, but that's okay. So feel free to email us anytime. We had our sailor in the house last week. He went back today. So hi, Mike.
What's up, bud?
We're sad, but happy that he's going back to be with his buddies on the boat. So should be good.
Yes.
Should be good for him. So anyways, last week we celebrated Christmas and on our show, and that was a fun time.
It was a good time.
Yes. And we're looking forward to New Year's. So we always get together with cousins and neighbors of the cousins and friends of the neighbors of the cousins and have a good time with that
and friends of whoever, yeah.
Yeah.
There's always a bunch of people.
Yeah. And just ringing in the new year, so it should be a fun time.
It's always good.
I'm going to make my soup, so that'll be good.
That by itself.
Yes. We could be at home and just having soup, and that would be good.
We had 3-day soup today. Third day.
Yeah, the third day.
Magic.
Yeah. It's amazing. But anyways, so last week we talked about giving along with all of our Christmas celebrations that we were talking about and how it can really be a blessing to you as well as other people, and giving to your spouse in their love language. So, for instance, if their love language is physical touch, you're giving a foot massage or rubbing their back or something spicier, whatever you choose to do. If their love language is
acts of service,
you're doing something nice for them, So it's whatever their love language is. You're doing something in their love language for them.
Yes.
And, trying to give things from the heart. And so Dan and I decided we wanted to take our own advice and do something for each other that was from the heart. And so
a little special. No, I mean
not that. So it's funny because Dan and I there's been years where we've gotten the same Christmas card for each other, or we'll write a message in the card that is really, really similar. Like we actually sat down next to each other and wrote it, but we didn't. It's just weird. We end up saying pretty much the same things on our cards. Hey, Justin, how are you? Merry Christmas. Hope you and your wife are doing good. Yeah, so this year we decided we're going to do something, personal.
Yeah. So
I wrote Dan a poem, and any of you that are writers or, creative mindsets, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to let the creative juices flow a little bit. And if it gets interrupted by different things going on, it's hard to get back into that mode, And so I would wake up in the middle of the night and I'd have to grab my phone and write down, these lines for this poem and try and or scraps of paper. So I think I had things on my phone. I had like 3 or 4 pieces of paper. I'm trying to fit them all together and figure out, okay, what am I doing? Yeah. How am I going to put this together? So I gave him a poem and I put it in a silver frame. So Dan got me.
I got her. I noticed that she didn't have the picture of when we got married, which one of our favorite pictures. We're standing in front of her mom and dad's really beautiful fireplace, and we're kissing, and it's just a really pretty picture. And I noticed that she didn't have that on her desk, so I got her a little picture frame that has a little saying on there. I can't remember what it says, but
I can't remember. True love or something like that, I think.
Something like that. Together forever, I think, or something.
Yeah, something like that.
So we both ended up getting a silver picture frame.
Silver picture frames. And it was neat because, you know, we both wrapped them in these boxes, you know, really I think we had the same wrapping paper even.
Yeah.
And so we go to open them up and we're like, they're both silver picture frames. Like something personal in there. So that was kind of neat.
It was awesome.
Always. It always happens like that. Doing well, yes, the stress is a lot less since it's not about moving every weekend.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, yes.
We ain't kidding there, brother.
We definitely understand that. We get it.
No good.
We get it. So this week, we're talking about positivity and we're talking about having fun together. Yes. And I know like way back in August, we did a live about positivity and sense of humor. I think.
Yeah.
And we wanted to kind of revisit that because we're coming up to the end of the year and we thought, what better way to close out the year than talk about positivity and, you know, talk about things that are good in your life. So, and reflect on those. Yeah. That's always a really good way to end the year because there's always something positive that you can find no matter what you're doing. So, yeah, we wanted to expand on that thinking a little bit. So it's not going to be exactly the same as it was, you know, back in August, but yeah, you can always find something. We try to have as much fun as we can, and we try to remain positive even when we're in the middle of stress. Yes. It's so important to try and keep positivity going even though you've been in stress. Let's see. Justin says, still moving, but if it's not raining this weekend, I'll get the majority of this weekend to the house. That's good. That's good.
You know how that goes. Yep. I have no idea.
So we admit that there's sometimes that it's difficult, especially when negatives seem really strong.
Seem to outweigh everything else.
Yeah. Sometimes really it's hard to be positive during all of that. And I mean, if you've read through the book, it's, we have different sections in there where, you know, we talk about our life when we were growing up. And, you know, I had a pretty rough childhood, but even, you know, there's always some kind of lesson that you can learn from all that. And sometimes those lessons are painful to learn, but it's always something that you can take from that and carry on in the future. And so
one of the things that we try to do is we always try to figure out what the silver lining is of stuff, because sometimes you've got to look pretty hard to find it.
Yeah.
But when you do, it all makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked a few times on here about our move to Illinois from Arizona was really, really stressful. We had a lot of things that were going wrong, but throughout every single turn, we always tried to find what is the silver lining.
Yes.
And even when the movers had dropped our things off at the new house and they were driving back to Arizona and they got pulled over and they found out that the 2 drivers that were in the truck did not have valid driver's licenses. And they impounded the truck, and Dan started stressing a lot. And I said, okay, we need to find a silver lining here. And Dan's like, there's no silver lining here. And I said, there is. this happened on the way back to Arizona with an empty truck. It did not happen on the way to Illinois with all of our things inside that truck. That's our silver lining. That's the only silver lining I can find right now. And we're going to hold on to that because
that's going to have to work.
Yeah, that's going to have to work. And, you know, throughout, like, we've had so many ups and downs in our marriage that, you know, the stress of my, you know, dealing with my parents' death, and then the kids that we raised were my parents' children from, you know, that they adopted through the foster care system. So when you're raising someone else's children who were adopted from foster care and they come with their own set of issues,
fun.
It adds even more stress on the parenting side of it, let alone we had only been married for 1.5 years by, you know, when we took on this responsibility. So we gladly took it on, but it added such deep levels of stress into our relationship that our relationship almost cracked from it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know,
we came close a couple of times, I think.
Yeah. And for a while, I kind of lost my smile. I forgot how to smile. And, you know, I didn't want, during that time also, I didn't want my picture taken. And that kind of went back a few years before that, where I had gained weight after my first marriage and was not feeling good about myself. And, you know, it was hard to look at photos of myself, you know, and not see anything good there. And I had to kind of get to the point where I realized, screw this. I feel good about myself. So if other people see negative things, then that's okay. You know, that's on them, and it's not a reflection of me. And I think the turning point was our oldest had gone out shopping one day, and she came home and she had this bag, and she came running out in the backyard and she said, I've got a gift for you, and I want you to come in and see it really quick. And so we went upstairs and she pulled out these 2 dresses that were identical. And she said, I got one for you and one for me, and they match. And I want you to go upstairs and try it on. And I'm like, okay. And so I tried the dress on, and yeah, it was tight, and I didn't feel like I looked very good in it, but it was a special moment because she had done this for me, and she was so excited that we would match. And so we went downstairs, and, you know, she goes, okay, we have to jump out in front of Dan and say, what do you think? And he was just, you know, showering us with praise, showering us with all these compliments. And, you know, then she wanted pictures taken, and I was afraid because I didn't think I looked very good, but it was so important to her that I just wanted to make her happy. And so we did all kinds of funny poses and everything. And it was a great memory, you know.
You had been through a relationship that had kind of shattered
my self-esteem was gone. Yeah. There's a section in the book about physical and emotional abuse, and I've been through the ringer with that. And I don't want to get into that here right now, but I had been through the ringer to the point where my level of self-esteem it had been really high before that, and then it was just so low. And, you know, that coupled with all the stress with the kids, I forgot how to smile.
Yeah.
And the last couple of years, I found my smile again, and I don't want to lose that, you know. And so it's a lot of building up of positivity and
self-image, really.
Yeah. And knowing that we're good people, and, you know,
we try to be good people.
Yeah. And just
I don't know. Maybe what we think is good isn't somebody else doesn't. I don't know. But we try to do the best we can.
we have to look for that silver lining. We have to keep being positive and keep thinking positively. And that's something that I credit Dan a lot with, is those moments where I'm overthinking something or being too analytical. He's jumping right in and reminding me gently that we have to think positively. Don't speak the negative into the air or, into the world. Keep thinking positively. And he's very good at that, very good at reminding me, keep focusing on the positive.
Yeah.
Because that's how you're going to make it through. Because when you continually look at the negative side of things, that's all you're going to see.
That's the truth.
It's all
really that you're going to attract.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you think positively, the more you invite positive things into your life. The more you invite positive change in your life, the more you invite love into your life.
Yeah.
Hopefully the more you involve God in your life.
Yeah. And you'll keep seeing those positive things building on top of one another, because that's what you're looking for. Because what you look for, you'll find. And we've had talks with different people that are fairly negative recently, and we've had to try and push that thought into them that the more negatives you look for, the more you're going to see.
Yep.
So, anybody could sit in front of this screen right now and look at the two of us, look at our garage, and you can pick it apart with negatives. Or you could be sitting here watching and look for positives, and you'll see those. And it's just, what mindset do you have? What are you looking for? And that's what you're going to see in this world. That's what's going to come back to you also. Mm-hmm. Is what you're looking for out in the world is going to come back to you too.
You want to try to make sure that you're inviting what you want into your life. Don't invite other thoughts of stuff that you don't need, don't want. Don't do it. Stay positive. Work on being positive all the time. Try to trick your brain into thinking positively all the time, because it makes all the difference in the world. Life is so much better, so much happier when you're positive. It just is.
Yeah, it sure is.
Sorry.
It is. Let's see, Justin's talking. The city gave me these crystals to pour on the toilet and let dissolve and flush after to kill the tree roots in the sewage drain. Mm-hmm. Tree roots? Wow. Yes, I agree with the moving. And my wife's job, she's been so stressed. And before moving, all I could do is be there for my wife and try to bring happiness and peace. Oof. And be her rock. It's so important. Throughout this time, try to tell my wife we can get through everything as long as we're together.
Yes.
Yes, you can. Yes. And right now, Justin, you're being called upon to be the strong one. And there may be a time in the future when your wife is the strong one. So you can fluctuate between being the strong one and allowing yourself to be weak and be held. And that's the basis of a great marriage. Yeah. Is, when one of us is weak, the other one is strong, and vice versa. So, keep looking for those positives, Justin, because you'll see them, and keep pointing out the positives to your wife too, because she'll start seeing those. We all have stresses in our life. We all have. We just had a conversation a few days ago, and we had to remind the person that we all have struggles. We all have pain from when we were growing up. We all have issues that we've had to deal with, some greater than others, but we've had to deal with all of these different things throughout our whole life. And the way that you become stronger is how you're getting back up after each one of those times that you're knocked down.
Yeah.
And you have to keep picking yourself back up and keep walking through all of these different issues and keep remaining positive. Keep looking for that light, because it's there. The positive is there. You just have to keep looking for it. Yes, we do our best to support each other, especially when I got fired in December. My wife told me we'll make it work. Yes.
That's a good wife.
Mm-hmm. Been working for almost 2 weeks now, so we'll get back on track.
She's done that to me several times.
Yeah. We've done that for each other, you know. Yeah. I remember having a miscarriage 10 years ago and, 2013, and we were there for each other. You know, we were both devastated by it, but we were there for each other. And that's all you can do. Keep looking for positives. Holy cow, your phone's blowing up, honey. So, where are we at? I forgot. Yes. So some of those people that crave the negativity, crave the drama, you know, we all have people in our lives that do that. And like they only see that negative. And so one thing that we've found that, you know, a tip that you can kind of use with those types of people is point out positives to them while you're talking to them.
Yes.
When they're starting to go
positive in their situation, because sometimes, you know how it is, sometimes when can't see the forest through the trees, you need somebody to give you a little bit of guide. You need to help have somebody else's perspective.
Yeah. Like when Dan had lost a job at one point, they were downsizing. So, you know, he came home and we held on to each other for a little while. And then I said, well, you didn't really like that boss anyway very much, did you? And he's like, no, not really. Well, there you go.
I loved all of my bosses. Don't listen to that.
Yes, he's loved every one of them. Everyone. Deeply have loved them. That's what most marriages should be, is work together, not be at each other's throats.
Yes.
That's something that we all have to remember, is we're on the same team.
Yep.
You know, you shouldn't be fighting among team members. Nowadays, marriages don't last because they don't want to work through things, which is always saddening to see. And some aren't meant for each other. That's exactly it.
It is true.
Yep. And that's the thing that we see a lot too, is a lot of people don't keep trying. And some people just aren't meant to be together, you know, and that's understandable. But then there's other people that it doesn't seem like they're trying, you know, they give up way too easily when there's a roadblock, or they want to brush things off, or, you know, sweep things under the rug, and that's not healthy.
No.
Not healthy.
Nope. At some point, that whatever that is that's underneath there is not going to go away. Pretty
soon, your rug, instead of being flat, it's going to have this big bump underneath it.
Yeah.
From all the stuff you've been shoving under there. Mm-hmm. But you can redirect people that are being negative. You know, you can point out, I really like your shirt. You have a really pretty shirt on, or whatever, you know, and just try and redirect them so that it's kind of shifting their mindset, you know. And if needed, avoid those people.
Yeah. There's some people that are just a suck hole of negativity. You know, it's like you don't want to get anywhere near them, because it's like you start getting sucked in. Yeah, let me out.
We've had to kind of drift away from people that have been in our lives that have been really, really negative. You know, We've just had to drift away a little, you know, and just not talk as much, not see as much, just because it's just sucking the energy right out of you. And one of the things that brings us a lot of joy is, you know, being able to spend time with Destroyer and Mama San, and you know, and with Dan's brother, you know, and spend time with my brother and sister-in-law. Their families are, it's like positivity, and you know, you go over and your stomachs hurt when you leave, you know, and it's always a good time. And that's what we want, is, you know, we want our stomachs to hurt when we hang out with you. And if they don't, it's just not a good time, you know? Yeah. And so you want to be around people that are positive, that can, you know, build you up when you're starting to slip
Yeah.
into negativity. They can pull you out of that, or you can do the same thing for them and just be positives for one another. So
another thing that's not bad to do is to tell them that you've been negative in the past and you're trying to be more positive, and it would be helpful if they would be more positive.
that's a great thing to say. I like that. I like that
and
a
then
lot.
just, after you've pointed out some positives, obviously.
Stop being so damn negative. Damn it.
Yeah. Even be positive when you're telling them to knock it off.
Please be positive. Thank you.
It's a public service announcement.
Yes.
We've mentioned on this show many times, life's too short to be miserable. Life is too short to waste time being angry, being hurt, being all that stuff that you have the capability of resolving.
Yes. Be positive.
Yeah.
You can always find something good in any situation, even if it's a small thing. Have fun with each other. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's something we try to do no matter what. I mean, it doesn't matter what we're doing. We could be folding laundry. He's flicking me with the towels, I'm throwing the towels at him.
Making shorts for you too.
Right. Doing yard work, cleaning up the kitchen after dinner, cooking dinner together. I mean, we try to have fun no matter what we're doing. So that's going on road trips. That's one of my favorites.
That's our idea of fun, is going on road trips. We love road trips.
Yeah. We are those people that go into like Walmart or something the day or 2 or 3 days before we go on a road trip, and we're like, the whole car is full of snacks and pop. Like our parents gave us $100 and all we did was buy candy with it.
Yeah.
That's how we are.
That's pretty much what happens. What did you get? Oh, I got some fire bombs. What did you get?
Cheetos.
Okay.
Don't drive your car when you've been eating Cheetos, because you're gonna get the orange stuff all over the steering wheel. That's not good. That's not good. It doesn't come out. Just gonna say, it doesn't come out.
I mean, the last year and a half has been the best of our marriage.
It has.
By a long shot.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that is us learning, to be positive. Yes. And to continue to be positive, because it's easy for either one of us sometimes to slip into negativity, and the other person will go, "Hey, you're being a little bit negative. Bring it back up again."
Those stresses in life can really, come right over the top of you, and they're so strong sometimes. Like, I mean, in the last year, we've had issues with, taxes and, like property taxes on
crazy
our house and
stuff.
So, when those stresses come along, it's like, ooh, that's a big one, and trying to remain positive through that and just hold on tight to each other. That's one thing. One of the reasons that our marriage has been so good in the last year and a half is the first thing that we did, very first thing, a year and a half ago, we sat down. We kind of realized that we were talking to each other as if we still had kids living in the house. And, it's that, I wouldn't say mom voice, but it's like,
I would say
this needs to get done right now, or,
To me, it's pretty clear cut exactly what it is. There's Dan and Tracy, and then there's Dan and Tracy married, and then there's Dan and Tracy as parents.
Yeah.
The problem is that part is about this long. Once we get to here, we got to remember what we did here.
Yes.
And I was sitting there going, why are we being like this to each other? What is going on?
We were bickering a lot.
Because we were bickering and just arguing about dumb stuff.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, you know what it is? we're too used to telling, giving the kids advice and telling them how to do things, and obviously
we're in mom and dad mode.
Neither one of us need that.
No,
we're in parent mode.
Yeah,
and we need to get back into love mode.
Yes. And so we sat down together and we had a really stop it. So we had to sit down with, we had a really open conversation with each other, and we said, okay, this is what I can do this is what I want to do to improve myself so that I can be better for us.
Yeah. And
you did the same thing. Mm-hmm. When you're having an open discussion like that, it is never a good idea to say, well, here's what you can do to better yourself and be better for this relationship. That is not your responsibility to tell your spouse how they can change. It's your responsibility to tell you how you can change. Your spouse is a grown-up, grown-ass man. Right. I've heard that phrase a lot lately. Anyways.
A gam.
A grown-ass man. So he can take care of himself. He can figure out what he needs to do to make himself better for us. And so we did that. We talked about it, and then we followed through and made those changes so that we could be together.
Yeah.
Because we want to be together for a long time, and it would suck.
We have a hell of a lot of, when we have fun.
We have fun.
We don't mess around.
We don't want to be one of those couples though that it's the old ball and chain, or it's the old man or the old lady or whatever. We don't want to be one of those couples that wastes a lot of years being pissed off with each other
instead of enjoying each other.
Why wouldn't you have fun? Why wouldn't you want to have fun? If you're going to be married to this person for the rest of your life, why not make it the best damn ride you can?
Exactly.
Why not make it a fucking hell of a lot of fun? Sorry. Why not make it fun? I mean, this is a person that you fell in love with a long time ago. Why not make it fun and have a good time, share moments together, laugh together.
Mm-hmm. Enjoy each other.
Why wouldn't you want to do that? Why you only get one shot at this life?
Yes.
Why would you want to be miserable through most of it? I don't get that thinking. So that's the first step that we thought about.
Yeah.
Second, we started following some of our own advice from the book. Imagine that.
I mean, it's one of those. Okay, wait a minute. There's a whole list here of everything that we've done to fix things. Okay, so let's do this.
Why aren't we doing those things right now?
Let's read through this and make sure we're doing this right.
Let's read through Fighting Fairly in the book, Making Marriage Last by Beth Lee.
That happened.
We did that. We went through and we said, okay, we're not fighting fairly. We're using verbal daggers, and we're bringing things up from the past, and we're doing these things that are not healthy. Why are we doing that? It says right here, Beth Lee's a very smart person. Why don't we take her advice and follow the book? So we went through and read that section again and answered the questions at the end. We went through and reread communication.
Yes.
And started, going through a lot of those questions at the end of the communication section. We reread the listening.
Yes.
The listening skills part, because we wanted to make sure that we understood, that we were reminded of what does it take to really listen well, to listen with your heart. And so we reread those sections, because we wanted to make our marriage better.
Yes.
And we wanted to make our marriage last.
Yes. I mean, the third thing we did, is basically just try to help each other be positive, mm-hmm. Speak in positives, try to be, try to be less negative. Just try to be more constructive and be more gentle, as best word I can use.
Yeah.
Be a little more vulnerable, because this person here is the one that you need to allow yourself. Tell them, hey, I need to vent, but then vent. Let it go.
Yeah.
Talk about it. If you can't do that, I don't know how you're ever gonna get by.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you just hold it all inside, make yourself sick.
Yes.
And die. I mean, wait, did I go that far?
That's a little far.
That's a little far.
A little far. But there's a lot of times where, because of those stresses, a great thing to get into the practice of doing is saying to your spouse, hey, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad about anything really. I just need to vent for a few minutes. Can you take a few minutes and just listen to me vent? And then I'm over it. Can you just give me that? And Dan's been really good about that. Or he'll say to me, I need to vent about something. Okay. And you're not looking during that time, you're not looking for advice. You're not looking for, you're not looking for anything really. You're not looking for any kind of reaction from the other person. You're simply trying to get that out, so that you're not holding on to it. Because like you said, it'll make you anxious. It'll make you depressed.
Yeah.
It'll create these negatives inside of you that you don't need. And it does
Right?
make you sick. Holding on to those negatives, holding on to that depression, holding on to that anxiety makes you sick.
It just
talk it out.
It's just not good.
No.
In general.
No. The other thing is every single thing that we try to do, we try to have fun doing it.
We try to have fun. Because, we might be going to an insurance seminar, but we're going to laugh our asses off under our breath probably in the back of the room, but that's what we do.
We actually did go to a seminar. We actually did go to a seminar one time. One of Dan's old buddies asked if we would go to this thing, and we're like, all right, whatever. So we get in there, and I looked over at Dan, and I'm like, is it me, or is it like 40 degrees inside this room? And he goes, yeah, it's cold in here. And I'm like, all right. So we're sitting there, and they were pitching some kind of, I think it was a pyramid scheme that they were doing.
Pretty much.
So we both caught on right away that this is what they're doing. So
it was basically a modification of a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So it was a triangle scheme or something. I don't know what it was. Whatever. But we were sitting there, and people from the audience, they said, well, does anybody have any questions? And so we're raising our hand because I'm going to ask something stupid, like, what is the temperature in this room? Because it is really cold. But yeah, I couldn't, they wouldn't call on us. It's
115 outside. Can we open a window or something in here?
Can we do something? I'm freezing. I have frostbite on my fingertips.
It's 58 degrees in here. Seriously.
So the only people they would call on were these certain people that were plants in the audience. And the person would ask a question that would magically lead to the next point that they would actually say, what a great question.
Right into my next point.
That leads me to my next point. That's amazing.
What do you know?
That's amazing. So Dan and I are sitting there, and I'm like, okay. And we get chit-chatting back and forth. We're making little comments like, wow, that was amazing how that just led right into the next point. And he's like, yeah, I know, that was crazy. And so we're making little comments and joking around back and forth. They actually shushed us. Mm-hmm. And told us, you might have to leave the room. So we went out for a break, and I said, I don't think this is for us. I think maybe we should leave and do something else. So we went back in, and Dan goes in. You have to understand this man here. If I say to him, like, hey, just pretend you've got a stomachache or something, he'll be like, oh my God, like overly dramatic about it. So we go in, and I said, I'm sorry, we're going to have to leave. My husband isn't feeling well. And he's like, yeah, I might have to vomit. I don't know. And he's going on and on and on. I'm like, okay, honey. It was so cold. I think I've got pneumonia now. And so we left, but it was.
I mean, when I started to see my breath in the room, I knew there was something was wrong.
But I cannot take this man into a Walmart without having my sides hurt when I leave, because he's the one riding a bike around Walmart. Or take him to Michael's. He's putting the wooden blocks together that spell things out that are not appropriate for children.
I would never do that.
Right. Don't go to one of the Walmarts in Gilbert, Arizona. I'm just no, Michael's. It was Michael's in Gilbert, Arizona. Yeah, don't go to that one.
That was
because it's probably still there, spelled out. We've missed a bunch.
Wow! Holy cow! Yeah.
Yes. Try to do what I can to stay away from toxic people because, yes, I hate people that bring it to my family's life, which can ultimately affect everyone that's around the toxic person.
It's so true.
Yes. Yeah, we had toxic people around us for a long, long time. And it's amazing how light you feel when those people are no longer in your life. Oh, it's so much better.
Yes.
So much better. I've always been the protector of my family, so I take a big stance against those that bring nothing but negatives to our lives.
Good man.
Yes, very good.
Man.
Oh, and look at there.
Oh, I put the link for the book in there. You know, it's basically so that people that watch this back, if they want to, they can click on the link and see what the book's all about.
Making Marriage Last.
So it's on Amazon. It's $15.99. It's a lot of it is really the story of our life, kind of not in depth necessarily, but I mean it gets pretty in depth. A lot
of truth bombs in there.
There's a lot of,
but it's a lot of things that we've gone through and how we've dealt with those things, and then things that other people have gone through that we've seen that we've been very close to and how they've dealt with it, good or bad.
I mean, honestly, it's almost kind of a guidebook for us.
Yeah.
More than anything else, and I'm glad that it's for sale because I hope other people will read it and like it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's something that we can use as a tool. We can go back and go, okay, we're doing this again. We need to go figure out, okay, what was it we did again? Okay. We need to do the 2-minute rule where we're not talking over top of each other and cutting each other off and that kind of stuff. But
if you don't know about the 2-minute rule, it's a
game changer.
You take any object that you have around you and one person gets it for 2 minutes. They're able to speak about whatever they want for 2 minutes. When that 2 minutes is up, you stop talking and you pass it on to the other person and they get to talk for 2 minutes uninterrupted. And you just keep passing it back and forth until you're able to resolve the issue that you have. And it works. We've used that so many times.
To remind you, okay, we gotta allow each other to speak and not sit there and take up the entire conversation, or cut it on top, or yeah.
Sorry.
You basically limit each other a little bit, which is what really needs to happen.
Yeah, because I'm one that I'll continue talking until I feel like my point is expressed. Dan is one, because I'm continuing to talk, he will jump in and start talking over the top of me. And neither of those things work.
No.
Got a tickle.
Tackle on your throat.
Yeah. Why don't you go to the next comments? Please.
Merry Christmas,
Mrs.
all.
Mustang. Hey.
Mrs. Mustang.
Love the gestures.
Merry Christmas to you and your family, Mr. and Mrs.
Yes. So sweet.
Definitely.
No one's ever late. Missed a few discussions. Was all good.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. We just appreciate you coming in.
Yes. So yeah, thank you so much for coming in.
Even if you're coming in to say hi, we would love to say hi anytime.
Yes. Yeah, 2-minute rule, smart way to have a smart discussion.
It is.
Because, what used to happen with us all the time was that we would start talking about something, we would disagree, and then it would get progressively worse where we would start throwing verbal daggers at each other. Not calling names, but just sarcasm, a lot of sarcasm.
A lot of sarcasm.
Yeah, and
blatant sarcasm.
Yeah, and it's you're using hurtful tones of voice, and you're not using very loving language with one another. And it just got to a point where, once we started doing the 2-minute rule, the first couple of times you're passing it back and forth, you're still in that anger mode. And so it's like you're pounding your points in, and the other person's basically waiting for their turn so they can respond to the points that you made, which is fine. You can go ahead and do that. It's just going to take a little bit longer. Once we started doing the 2-minute rule all the time, we were able to really hear what the other person was saying.
It actually helps to speed up the conversation, actually, in real life, because we would end up by the end of it just cutting off our time. I'm only using 30 seconds or whatever, but it's because it's all I needed to say 3 words. Here you go.
And you're really by the time, I think by the third time you pass it, you're expressing what you're feeling. This is how it's making me feel. And the other person can hear that because now they've gotten their point across. You've each gotten a chance to get your point across. Now you feel heard. And so now you can talk about the feelings that are behind all those words. Yeah. And that's really where you want to go, is
get to the root of the problem.
What are the feelings? What are the feelings underneath this? Why is it that he's taking this the wrong way? It's because I said something that brought him back to his childhood, or something, I used some kind of a trigger word or something with him that he didn't like, or I used a tone of voice that he didn't appreciate. And so now I can hear what threw him off, and he can hear the feelings behind my words. Right. And it helps, it helps to resolve that so much easier. Shell. Instead of arguing for 2 hours, we're talking and talking about our feelings in 10 minutes, and it's done. By the end of it, we can stand up, we can give each other a hug, and it's resolved.
That's the other thing that you need to do. You need to have some kind of way of showing each other that this is resolved.
Yes.
Once you get to that point and you both feel like you're to that point, give each other a hug. Whatever. Talk about it, and say, maybe say you're sorry or whatever it is. And then after you've hugged each other for a little bit, let each other go, and then let it go.
Let it go. And that's one thing Dan had asked.
Hard part.
Dan had asked me.
Let it go.
I don't even know how many years ago you said to me, I said, I just want to resolve this. I want to make sure this is resolved. And you said to me,
what does your resolution look like?
Yes. And I said, when we're both done giving our points and we both feel heard by each other and we hug, when we're done hugging, I'm over it. It's done. I'm over that. And he's like, okay, so you want to resolve, you want to talk it out, and then you want us to hug. And I said, then I know once we hug, then I know it's resolved and it's done.
Yeah. And you can let it go.
And we can let it go. And he's like, okay. So he tried that the next time we had a little tiff, and we hugged it out. It was done. I think we went in and made dinner. Everything was fine the rest of the night. And you're like, okay.
So, that's better.
Yes, that's much better. Find some way of, maybe you guys give a high five to each other. I don't know. We hug it out.
Works for
but
you.
Whatever your little sign to one another that this is resolved and everything's good, and now we can move on, and it's not going to be brought up again, because bringing up past issues, it's just rehashing old shit.
Yep.
I would rather not do that, but anyways.
I agree.
Yes. So homework for tonight. So because this is coming up to New Year's Eve, and like I said at the beginning, this is a really, really good time of year to think back over the last year and think about positive things that have happened to you. So that's your homework for this week, is during the week from now until Sunday's New Year's Eve, right? Yeah. So from now until Sunday, by yourself, think about what those positive things are that you've seen in your marriage or in your life as a family. Think about those positive things that you've seen, And then on New Year's Eve, once the kids go to bed, everything's quiet, the countdown is done, fireworks are done, sit down with your spouse for a little bit of time and talk about those positives that the two of you have seen. And then talk about what positives you want to see in the coming year. Because next week we're going to talk about setting goals for yourselves.
Yep.
And think about what positives do you want to see in your life? What positives do you want to see in the new year? Because this is a fantastic time of year to do that. The year's coming to a close. So talk about those positives. Try to keep negatives out of your discussions for the rest of the week. And only think in positives. Only talk in positives. If there's something negative that has to be brought up, try to do it in a positive way.
Yeah.
If you can,
Well, try to do it the nicest way you can.
Right.
I mean,
yes.
Even if you're upset, you can take a minute to go wash your face or something and then come back and be nice.
And be positive.
Be positive.
So,
or at least try to be as much as you can.
So that's what we have for you today. So like we said at the beginning, I hope you guys had a really, really Merry Christmas. Our Christmas was awesome.
Yes.
So we were together, so it was good. And we hope you have a really blessed new year. And we can't wait to see you next year. So we love you. Thank you.
Love you guys.